What the mainstream media was afraid to tell you about the news this week? This week, while the mainstream media obsessed over demonizing Christopher Columbus, here are the things that happened that really matter. A judge in the UK ruled that a mentally disabled woman must be forced to undergo an abortion. The woman is 12 weeks pregnant and is in the care of the NHS Trust, which essentially is foster care for adults run by the socialized healthcare system in the UK. The judge ruled that he understands that forcing the woman to undergo an abortion is a violation of her bodily autonomy, but the pregnancy, he says, would harm the woman's mental and physical health. Although he didn't say how, and he didn't say how the abortion would harm the woman's mental or physical health. But did the mainstream media report on this? Did the mainstream media report on the fact that the judge authorized doctors to restrain the woman and administer general anesthesia if she resists the abortion? Nope. The mainstream media was silent. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says the House of Representatives will not vote on an impeachment inquiry. Of course not, because then the 31 Democrats in red districts would have to go on the record, which they don't want to do because their constituents don't want impeachment. But did the mainstream media report on this? Barely. They barely mentioned that there's no formal impeachment inquiry without a vote, and Pelosi refuses to call a vote in the House. LeBron James says NBA coach Daryl Morey wasn't, quote, educated about his Hong Kong tweet. LeBron scolded Morey for tweeting without thinking. Meanwhile, China is trying to impose their communism on Hong Kong, and Chinese communism has led to the death of 60 million Chinese people in the past 70 years. Currently, 1 million Uyghur Muslims are imprisoned and tortured in concentration camps in China, and LeBron is scolding Morey for speaking out? And where was the mainstream media providing the facts and education about China? Did the mainstream media report on the truth about China? Nope. The mainstream media said nothing. CNN was caught on undercover camera admitting their bias and revealing they had a pre-planned favorite, Elizabeth Warren, for the Democratic debate. CNN's president Jeff Zucker was recorded pushing a narrative encouraging impeachment, telling his network to act like all the moves by the Trump administration were all leading to impeachment. That narrative is called political bias. And yet, CNN pretends they're straight news. But did the rest of the mainstream media networks and outlets call out CNN for pretending to report the facts, but actually pushing their political agenda? Nope. The mainstream media ignored the tapes entirely. Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, leaves the Chinese firm where he sat on the board. But why, if Hunter Biden did nothing wrong? Why would he quit that job if it's not a corruption issue? Why would Hunter pledge not to serve on foreign boards if his dad is president, if that is not a conflict of interest? If the mainstream media were astute, they would have asked those questions, but instead the mainstream media ignores the whole thing or sends Anderson Cooper out there to pretend it's all fake, made-up allegations. The mainstream media does not care to report any of that to you, so we will.